Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's live stream legal show. I'm Judy, the YouTube lawyer, and this evening we have a returning guest who is Joseph Kim. He is a law student at Notre Dame Law School. He's originally from Southern California, and he has graciously agreed to give up some of his Friday night study time to react with me to a reaction video, which is several law students from Singapore reacting to this K-drama called Law School, which was very popular last year. So let's add Joseph Kim to the screen. Thank you, Joseph, for your time.
No, thank you for having me on, Judy. And I promised I wasn't going to study tonight anyway, so this worked out well.
Oh, okay. Okay, so you can afford to spend like maybe 45 minutes here watching this thing again. Yeah, and you did tell me earlier that you actually watched a whole entire series last year.
Yeah, I think it was near the end of last summer. My dad watched the drama, and then he was telling me about it, sort of trying to compare if like I was experiencing what, the show was, and it's not necessarily an exact copy of reality, but I told him my opinions, and then I went and watched the show myself.
Did you watch it on Netflix or some other method?
I don't think it was from a paid streaming site. I don't
Oh,
remember clearly. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I was trying to look for it on Netflix, and the only thing that showed up for me was the very first episode. So I just watched more bits here and there thanks to YouTube and thanks to the internet. So, okay, well, let's add to the screen. Um, the reason I found this reaction was because it just kept showing up on my YouTube feed over and over again. So finally, I was like, okay, I'll click on it because I had never even heard of this show before. And so lo and behold, these are some law students from Singapore who each have their own YouTube channels. And so this is just one of many videos that they have on their channel. Okay, can you see it? Okay. Yeah, I don't know what the first guy's name is, but the young lady in the middle, I think her name is Charlene or Charlie or something like that. So her YouTube channel is called Charlie Cat Cat Cat. And it looks like after law school, she ended up getting a 1-year internship or job in Finland. So more of her videos now are about life in Finland. I'm not even sure if she's working as an attorney. And then the guy on the right is Randy Hong, who also has his own YouTube channel. And it doesn't look like he has a lot of like work related videos. So who knows what these people are doing right now. I think in Singapore, law school is what takes place of college. So they're probably younger than attorneys in the United States would be. So let's play this. Okay, you ready?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I'm Randy.
I'm Shadi.
I'm April.
And today we are going to be reacting to Law School, the Netflix series.
Because we're all law students and we just graduated as well.
So if you guys didn't know, Law School is a Korean Netflix drama about law school, and there's a murder that happens in the first episode, and the rest of the show is just about people trying to solve the murder. And we'll be reacting to how relatable the show is to our own law school lives.
Yeah, and we're not from Korea, we're from Singapore, but I mean like we're Asian, so it's fine. Okay. And today, to commemorate this special occasion, we're all actually dressed up as a character from Law School. So Randy, who are you dressed up as?
So I'm dressed up as Professor Young in court, and Charlene is dressed as
Professor Young in class.
And I'm just a student. I'm
Jiho.
Jiho.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll put in a photo here. They look exactly the same. Okay, and without further ado, okay, let's start.
The classes as well.
Oh no, here comes an ad.
Stuff. We love stuff. And there's some really
Let me
great
skip
stuff
the
out
ad.
there.
Okay, libraries.
I've heard of them.
We can talk about noisy people in the library. They're actually very inconsiderate people in the library. Like people who talk very loudly, discuss stuff very loudly.
Or like they're laughing somewhere.
Yeah, I have no idea for what reason.
Yeah, literally, you just want to kill yourself when you're in a law library, but I guess some people really enjoy it.
No, but the new trend now is like mechanical keyboards in the
Oh,
library.
yeah.
Oh, yeah!
So you're like,
Yeah.
and literally every
Yeah.
like every 5 minutes, and then you're just like, I don't care.
Yeah, you need to, like, what's the sound? Audioly show that you are doing way more work than the guy next to you.
Most of the time, I think the law library is quite quiet to the point where it's like a bit suffocating. So once in a while, there's a bit of noise, I'm okay with it. But then it's really true though. Like even if you move your chair or like
Is that everyone can hear
or
it
like speak in a normal voice, yeah, like it will just echo.
through KGC.
Yeah. So
There was once I took a nap, and I know I don't snore, but apparently I was breathing very loudly. that like the guy next to me drove fun. He's like, Charlie, you breathe very loudly.
You can even hear breathing noises.
Yeah, so I'm breathing very deeply. You know when you go into REM sleep? Yeah, so be careful in the library. And everyone's studying, of course, in their little like hoodies. That's quite cute. We don't have hoodies. I don't know why.
We do it.
But we have a free jacket now.
Well, I didn't get it actually, so
Okay. So, how are things at your library?
Something like that conversation they had in the scene is very normal. And you just, a lot of times people will talk if they're sort of getting up and moving throughout the library to, you know, to get to their spot or to leave. And you just gotta wait for it to pass. I mean, I don't think people are disrespectful, but you do hear some chatter. There is movement. There are sort of study rooms if you want a more isolated space. And I don't know. It's an interesting scene how like they talked about the hoodies as well. Like it doesn't look like that. Maybe they did it to sort of like not individualize any of the side characters. But yeah, it's an interesting environment that they have there. I don't think it's exactly like how it would be in my library.
Yeah. I mean, how often do you even go to your law library to study?
It depends. Sometimes, some semesters, I'll prefer to, depending on my schedule or other things, I'll prefer to study mostly at home. And other times, I don't want to take any of my books with me, so I'll get most of my work done in the library. For me, it's most of a schedule thing. Some people feel like they can't focus at home, or they're at law school all day and they only go back to sleep. I'm sure they use the library if that's the case.
Yeah, and I feel like that scene really captures how intense and stressed out all the students are, because I think the scene comes soon after that professor is found dead in the office. And so that main character girl seems to be the only one that's really affected and freaked out by the dead professor. And everybody else is just like, well, let's head back to the library and just sit here. And why are you making noise and bothering us?
Well, I actually think that's kind of believable. So my parents lived in Korea for a while. They never went to law school, but they have some conceptions of it that I wouldn't. And I don't have a primary source for this. It's just a secondary source. But I think the bar passage rate in Korea is about 50%. And in general, education and higher education in South Korea is extremely intense to begin with, way more than, I think it is in the US. So it wouldn't surprise me if that's actually what happens. People just don't let anything bother them and get them off track.
That's right, because their eye is on the prize and they know that there's a 50% chance that they're just going to flunk and it's all going to be a waste of time and embarrassment, right? Yeah, because I do recall seeing in the K-drama, was it one of the professors or maybe that guy that worked in the copy center said that half of you guys are going to fail, or half will fail the bar exam. Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I think that's actually true though.
Yeah, that is sad. No wonder everybody was just like so cold and carried on as normal after the guy was probably murdered in the law
'Cause
school. Wow.
there's so much at stake. Maybe
Yeah.
more than life and death for them. Who knows?
Interesting. Okay, so here is that the guy that works in the copying center with her, who's sticking the F on her head?
I think so.
Yeah, he kind of looks like the Grinch, because he's the guy. I remember seeing the scene on YouTube where the guy was saying that he failed the bar exam 30 times, and that's why he was working in the photocopying room at the law school. Poor guy. So he was trying to caution her not to become like him. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Okay. Well, what's your reaction to that?
I actually think this is an incredibly well-made scene. They pack so much in there that I think sort of insiders, right? People who have gone to law school, they understand things about tight curves, and that the raw score doesn't mean much. They and sort of being right around below median. There's curve breakers like the 90 or 91 score that it was, and I think the sort of maybe one thing that isn't too realistic is the sort of candidness that they're talking about grades with each other. I understand they're friends, but a lot of times people are a little more cautious to sort of tell each other or share exactly what they got. But other than that, I think this is something that any law student could relate really easily to.
Yeah, I just found it strange that they're just talking loudly about what they all got because none of that ever happened in my law school. It was all supposed to just be a secret or nobody really talked about it. And we found out our grades by looking at a piece of paper that was printed out and taped on the outside of the door to the classrooms. And it all just had your student ID number. So you couldn't tell who got what grade. So I just think it's kind of like chaotic and could be so embarrassing for all these students all like talking about, oh, you got this, oh, I got this. Or
Yeah.
what about the guy saying that you guys would be secretly happy if it turned out one of the students got a 0 for turning in her thing? Like, is it that competitive at your school where some people would probably be happy to see other people getting
No,
bad grades?
my school is not that competitive, but I will add a caveat. My class, I think, is the least competitive of the three that are here right now. So it does sort of classes can be more or less competitive than each other, but generally, I don't think Notre Dame is a too competitive school. I haven't heard many or any stories of someone trying to sabotage another or being happy for their classmates' failure. But uh, I wouldn't be surprised if there are people out there that do or feel that way.
Hmm. Yeah. Oh, and this is something I want to ask you about. What's with the guys always sucking on lollipops in this show? Because there's like multiple scenes where one of the male students is sucking on a lollipop. And I think it's so weird because I have never seen anybody just sucking on candy or lollipops since maybe they were in like elementary school. Is that a Korean thing?
Well, I don't think so. I'll answer by saying I don't know, but I think because it's a show, they sort of like add it to the character and it needs to stay constant from scene to scene. That's my best guess, but I have no idea either.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess they just thought that it would make it seem like a real show with young people to have them, eating candy and licking lollipops. That's
No, I
weird.
didn't even notice it until you just said it.
Yeah, yeah, it shows up repeatedly. Yeah. Okay, so let's see what.
That was a scene full of many
Relatable
relatable
moments.
moments.
Yeah, so basically what was happening is that they all got their midterm grade at the same time. And I guess they got it through some like ad,
Yeah.
which is honestly so gross.
And there's a ranking system which we don't have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like they had like usernames and then there's like one after another.
I like how they get notified.
Yeah,
Because to be
all
able to
at the
constantly
same
check
time.
hours,
Yeah.
you have to keep refreshing the stupid portal also.
Yeah.
I think the key difference right off the bat is that you can see everyone's grades
Yeah.
by a username. But for us it's like confidential. You're just
Yeah.
able to see your own grade and that's all.
Mm. And I think you can kind of tell based on their conversation, it's very like, okay, you can tell who the competitive people are and who aren't. And like there's all this talk about like, oh yeah, I'll be fine if this person leaves and all that. The only reason why they're talking like this is because it's all bell curved. So you see just now they sit in their civil law class, like not civil law, civil code class, people are getting 5s. And if you get above 10, you get 8+. So that will only be possible if you're on a bell curve system, which basically means that like you have to pay attention to how many people are in front of you and behind you in order to get like an A or whatever grade you want. So that's why they are like comparing so much.
That's what Jiho said, like, oh, I'll get the A plus if Junri leaves. Because
Yeah.
like one less smart person means I'm the next smarter person.
Yeah.
Next
Yeah,
smartest
yeah,
person.
exactly. Or like if Council A gets like 0, right, she'll push the bell curve up. And that's exactly how the Singapore system. Love
Cutthroat,
it. Cutthroat.
competitive.
Okay, so you mentioned, Joseph, already that it's not really as cutthroat. Oh, great. Okay, so Tony Sullivan is saying that we were off the. Oh man, we were off the screen for about 2 minutes and it said stream suspended for policy violations. Oh my gosh. Okay, so who knows if this will really stay up as a video then if we're not even supposed to be showing clips of the show. Wonderful. Oh well, we'll just carry on and see what happens to the video later on.
Oh, they
Okay.
brought us back, so maybe they'll let us stay on.
Yeah, let's see. Okay, well, darn it. That's why it's always really hard to do reactions because sometimes they do just go ahead and delete big chunks of the live stream if we're showing stuff that, you can't even just comment on and say it's fair use. Yeah. So, okay, so they're saying that there is a bell curve, at least these students are saying there is a bell curve in their school. So how are you guys graded at your law school?
Something similar to a bell curve. It starts with a normal distribution, but it tends to go upwards, I think. Every school has their own grading policy. So ours is similar to a bell curve, and then you get things like sort of if you study abroad, then you have easier time uh, getting higher grades sometimes. Some professors will grade papers closer to the A's than they would to, the other side. And if a class gets small enough, sometimes there is no grade policy, and professors can give out A's as much as they want. So those things sort of like it tends to after 1L inch up a little bit, but for the most part, I think classes are also there's on a normal distribution for us.
I see. Okay. Well, just because I'm concerned about, just having huge swaths of the live stream having to be cut out due to copyright issues and stuff. So let's take them off the screen now. And let's just talk about the show in general.
Yeah.
So, just as a basic, very, very basic summary to anybody who is interested in the show, it's really more like a murder mystery show that happens to be set in a law school. I mean, that's the feeling I got. It's not just all about law school life because, early on, there's the professor who is found dead in an office off to the side of that mock trial courtroom. And then it's all about, well, who killed him, with the stories of the students also. So is that a decent assessment of it? I mean, I didn't watch every single episode though.
Uh, I would say you're absolutely correct. There's a strong premise. Putting it in a law school is sort of what draws people in, I think, is supposed to be the purpose. Korean dramas tend to have really good premises and very strong character development. This is in my opinion, but they're not too good at sort of finishing the plot strong because a lot of times I hear just this is how the industry is. They will sort of have the first couple episodes and then they'll film the rest as they go based on sort of the fans' reactions, what people seem to like out of the show, and the narrative won't be tied together from beginning to end before the show is released. So I think that's why it sort of just becomes a more of a crime drama, murder mystery, rather than sort of exploring the law school thing the entire way through.
Mhm. I see. Yeah. Well, for me, I started watching bits and pieces of later episodes, and then there are a lot of YouTubers who did these kind of quick recaps of different episodes. So I watched a recap of maybe the seventh episode, but it was just kind of giving me a headache trying to keep track of all the different characters and all the different like side shoots, these like weird like side stories and stuff. So, I mean, did you find it hard to follow along and keep all the different characters straight?
Uh, no, because especially in the beginning, some of the most famous actors that they have on this show, you kind of know who they are immediately, right? So it's easier to attach in your own head this actor who I already know the name from this
Oh,
other show or whatever plays
mhm.
this character, and there's sort of less for you to figure out as you go. Um, and I guess if you watch each episode, which is like, an hour at a time, it slows down the pace and you can pick things up as you go. So if someone doesn't speak Korean, maybe keeping track of the names could be difficult as well. Uh,
Mhm,
Not too much of a problem for me, but I think I can understand why.
mhm. Okay. So there was some scene that I saw where the mean professor is shown with an ankle bracelet, like a monitoring device. Why did he have that on?
So they say it's for, oh wow, now I might get into spoiling.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah, let's spoil it because this is a show that was popular last year. So
okay,
people
sure.
watching this should know, we're going to be talking spoilers. It's not
Sure.
like a new hot
Spoiler
show.
warning then. Yeah. So the ankle bracelet is on because he's a criminal law professor, and he's also he used to be a prosecutor, and he's just sort of like trying it for fun, I think, or some kind of experiment that he's interested in. And it turns out it becomes sort of like a relevant piece of evidence because he's sort of involved in the whole main sort of mystery in the plot. And so the fact that he sort of wears it for fun becomes relevant later. And I think it goes off like during one of the trials or something, and he's just like, "Oh, sorry, I have to press this button every hour." When some people think that he's guilty, and he's wearing this ankle bracelet, so it sort of adds a little bit of a ironic component to it.
How strange. Okay. And then I remember also seeing a little clip where that one of the main character women, the students, she starts thinking back in time. I think there's a flashback where she said the only person that came into the room while we were on a break was the whatever, like a delivery person who went into the room where the professor was found dead. And then she starts worrying that people are going to suspect that they, the students who are also in the courtroom, mock trial courtroom, may have killed the professor. So later on, are any of the students suspected of being the murderer?
Yeah, I think most of them are suspected at some point.
Oh,
I mean, they're sort of friends to start, but it turns out they're also sort of like this. A lot of them are the stars of the school. So that whole mock trial thing, it's a lot of them are from that little group are involved in it, and being in that room, it's sort of like a back room in the trial room or something like that. So a good number of them are are neck deep in this murder mystery.
okay. But then what happens to them as the show goes on? And feel free to spoil the thing for me too, because I didn't watch through like
Yeah.
90% of this. Like, is there one student that in particular seems like they probably did kill the person?
So and my memory is not going to be perfect. I think sort of maybe on an episode by episode basis, a different student, like facts come up that make a different student suddenly the main suspect for that episode, and you sort of unravel, all the facts that you didn't see before, as sort of everyone involved tries to get down to the bottom of this. So, and it turns out they're all sort of acting for perhaps it was an entirely different thing, but they look suspicious in light of what they know at the time. So I think they do a pretty good job of sort of making sure each student gets their own spotlight, develops the character, and involves them, whether they're sort of pursuing the truth or uh, or being like unveiled out of it, out of sort of this like mystery element.
Mhm.
So if you get attached to any one particular character from the beginning, I think you'll have plenty of time to enjoy that character at some point in the drama.
Mhm. Okay. Yeah. So with one of the main protagonists, um, I got the idea that she went to law school because she had been criminally accused, or maybe even was convicted of a crime she didn't commit when she was younger. So she feels like she has to go to law school to feel like she's, I don't know, somebody's making it up to her. I mean, it just sounds really bizarre when she says, "I'm here at law school because I want the law to make things up to me." I'm like, "What? The law is not a person. I mean, what do you want to do? Like, go sue the person who accused you?"
Yeah,
I don't know.
it gets really weird. I think one of the professors, maybe even the criminal law professor, was sort of, when he was a prosecutor, he was sort of handling or involved somehow with the case that she was involved in when she was younger. So it all ties back together. And
Mhm.
yeah, there's a there's a lot going on.
Yeah, yeah. And then there was also a scene where the female professor who's pregnant ends up falling in class or collapsing or something. So what later happened to her?
I'm sorry, I actually don't remember.
Oh, okay. I mean, it's not like she died or anything, right? Like I just remember seeing a clip where like there's some dramatic scene where she's in at the law school and she's like collapsing on the ground.
Well, I don't remember that specifically. You're probably right. I will say though that in Korean dramas, collapsing is very, very common.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I also read online that people were actually sort of impressed that there was no romance between the characters.
Mm.
Because is that a typical like K-drama plot line where like some of the characters wind up being romantically involved?
So I think yes, that's very common. A lot of romance. Oddly enough, I think a lot of the ones that have to do with law or perhaps like medicine, where it's the very sort of professional settings, um, they like to pursue something else. So this is not the only legal Korean drama I can think of that sort of dodges the whole romance side intentionally.
Okay. So then do you want to just go ahead and spoil the whole thing? Tell me what happens in the last couple of episodes because I don't have time to watch it.
I'll be completely honest.
You don't remember?
Uh,
Oh, it was so unmemorable. We don't even know what happened.
Well, I think what I do remember is that it was never as simple as there was one culprit that sort of just, had an intent to kill, carried out the murder, and they just figure out who it is. It's not a Scooby-Doo kind of ending.
What? It's not like
So
Scooby-Doo.
yeah, where they pull off the mask and it's like, wow, it was you all along. It's complicated. They have a lot of characters, and I think it remains complicated until the resolution. So
Okay.
I'm sorry that I don't actually
No,
remember.
no, it's okay. We will, while you're on the air, because I am curious. It's like, what happened at the end of this? Is anybody watching this and would like to tell us what the ending is? Yeah, somehow I don't think I have a lot of K-drama fans on my channel since we're not getting a lot of people watching this. But okay, let's look at the law school drama wiki. Can you see it?
Yeah, I could see it.
Okay, so this says, oh, oops. Sorry. Law school recap ending. Here it is. This is a website that hopefully will tell us what happened. Okay, so there were 16 episodes. Personally, for me, this has been a frustrating series with so much promise. My main issue is that the writers felt the need to make every plot point complex. Yeah, that's what I found very stressful about trying to watch more about this show. It was just like making me kind of have a headache thinking about it. While I don't frown at mind-bending stories, Law School exceeds the limit. Thankfully, the finale of Law School is satisfactory. The finale begins a few days ago, returning to the events of the penultimate chapter, but from a different angle, with the students and Professor Yang planning to foil Assemblyman Ko for his corrupt and criminal activities. Kang Sol A learned her sister could not travel to Korea, so she pretended to be Erica Shin. Hui O found the underground hub to spread fake news funded by Assemblyman Ko. When Assemblyman Ko speaks to Professor Yang and Erica Shin, he was fooled. He was under surveillance. The police put on a search and seizure warrant and arrest Assemblyman Ko. A dramatic start to the finale. Professor Jin is cornered. What Professor Yang tells the prosecutor Jin that he should tell the truth now before it spills out with Ki Do Seung. He plays him a voice memo and realizes all this is now connected to a murder. Oh, okay. So the Assemblyman Ko, whoever that is arrested. He holds a press conference, claims this is a ploy to undermine him. He says the judge who issued the warrant has a daughter who is one of Professor Yang's students, referring to Kang Sol B. Soon after, Assemblyman Ko is arrested for inciting murder and online manipulation. Huh. Okay. Huh. Does that make sense? Okay.
It's coming back, actually. There's a lot of sort of politics and corruption themes at the end. Maybe the murder was resolved earlier and they sort of shifted the conclusion to something else.
Yeah, because another one of those. Oh, wait. Okay, so there's more. Oh, my God. Okay, the finale presents Assemblyman Ko's first trial. Professor Yang announces himself as the victim in the trial and sits down, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Twin sisters? What? Okay.
Yeah, there's
So there's a sister who lives in California whose English name is Erica. Erica. Oh my God.
they use the same actress to play her sister
Oh, okay.
with heavier makeup.
Oh my gosh, this is crazy. So even the summary is like very, very complex and detailed.
Mhm.
Oh my God. Professor Yang visits Assemblyman Ko in jail. He feels he has way more to solve and wants to know if Xiu Byung-ju was a victim of a bribe, blah, blah, blah. Professor Yang wants the truth for his students. The finale flits to a few years later. Kang Sol A is an attorney at an office run by her and Mr. Park, and Jun Hui is a prosecutor. Both characters head into the law school and meet up with Professor Yang, and they walk together as a trio.
Okay, I think I actually have a guess. It might be coming back. So there was, I can say with like 90% certainty that the victim had drug use and there was some involvement of that. I can only say with about like 40 to 50% certainty that it's the drug use that killed him and maybe there was no murder after all, which kind of makes sense why they would have trouble tracking down like a murderer um, when there's such limited access. I think it was something about consuming drugs that played a
Oh
part.
yeah, yeah, because I do remember like scenes where the students were all talking about how, there were rumors that he was a drug user.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Might have been
So
an overdose.
yeah. And also, I do remember another weird scene was where that the child rapist that got out of prison
Hmm.
suddenly showed up in the law school classroom and started talking to the professor who used to be the judge or whatever in his trial. I was like, that is weird. That would never happen in real life. And then he acts like, well, I was drunk. I don't remember anything. So therefore, why am I being blamed? Why did I have to serve time in prison? I'm like, who the heck?
Yeah,
This
in
guy's
America it would be
crazy.
different because he'd get a jury trial and maybe he might go after the prosecutor instead of the judge. But uh,
Mhm.
yeah, I remember that now. As I actually didn't even think about it at all until you just brought it up.
Great. Now I'm filling up your mind with. See, this is why I didn't want to watch the rest of the show. I was like, okay, I'll just watch whatever we need to react to for this live stream because I got real life problems and my real client problems to deal with. I don't have any more cells in my brain to devote to this K drama. But
I
for
will
some
say,
reason,
oh, oh,
yeah, some people
I
really
will
love these things though.
I think well, so I enjoyed it. I for myself there was a different drama that I enjoyed more, a legal Korean drama, and if someone wants a recommendation, it's called Pride and Prejudice, um, and I think that one is many times better. I've watched it multiple times, and I think it sort of gets away from all the convoluted stuff and sort of wraps up the story a lot better at the end, and a little bit more mature as well. It has to do with actual prosecutors and judges in practice.
I see. So, how would you rate this law school drama compared to other K dramas you've watched?
I might be biased. I'll give it like an 8 out of 10. I think a lot of parts of it were relatable for me. Uh, but I don't think if it was about law school, I would have been hooked onto it much. Or a lot of times I don't even finish dramas if, I don't like where it's going. So I did finish this one, which I guess it puts it in the 8, maybe 8.5 out of 10.
Mhm. Okay, well, that's pretty good then. Okay, well, let's get to some questions because I know some of the viewers have had questions out there and are waiting for you to answer. So, hi, Serena. Thank you for being here. She says, thanks for the show. How has your 2L year differed from 1L in the way that you learn and the way that professors teach? Separately, what's your academic plan for 3L year?
In my experience, 1L is pretty much the same wherever you go to school in the US. You're doing doctrinals, you don't have many other classes or electives. 2L year, you have a lot more freedom. There's a lot of job searching, and that can definitely go into 3L year as well. Um, but you have a lot more freedom. Some people will go for things like clinics or other experiential type credits, uh, and some people will sort of explore the type of areas that they're interested in. Something like something like family law might not be a doctrinal, but if you want to learn more about it, then you would kind of take it in your 2L or 3L year. And my academic plan for my 3L year is take classes that I like and also take classes that I'm required to graduate with, and maybe some sort of bar prep like courses like maybe evidence or remedies, and also the MPRE.
Mhm. Okay, great. Yeah, let's see. So Tony is asking a hypothetical. Do you think that Korean litigants have a right to represent themselves? Is it an adversarial legal system? Is it common law? Maybe we need a lawyer that practices in Korea. Yeah, what do you know about the legal system there?
So I'm tempted to say that it's adversarial, but it might not be the best guess because I know outside of the US, most of them are more inquisitorial, just like generally across the globe. But Korea likes to sort of um, do things like how America does, or a lot of sort of like their westernization was done through the US's influence. So it wouldn't surprise me if they're adversarial. Them doing the trial with the cross examinations and all that stuff, I think it is adversarial. Whether they have a right to represent themselves, I actually don't know. I'm sure if they were prohibited from doing so, it would be codified somewhere. Um, I, and
Mhm.
is it common law? I don't know. Actually, they have a civil code, which if it's substantive rather than procedural code, then maybe it lends itself more to sort of like a civil law kind of regime. But my answer is I don't know. I actually don't know if it's common law or not.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, I don't know much about the court system in Taiwan either. So, I mean, having never gone to school there or, gone to law school there. Yeah, so his other question is, what does it take to flunk out of law school in Notre Dame? Have you seen any classmates drop out?
Uh, Flunking out is very difficult. I think law school in general is not designed for people to flunk out. If you take your exams somewhat seriously, you come in somewhat prepared, chances are you'll get a passing grade. You really have to sort of almost try or have other things in your life that just get in the way so much that your grades are in an aggregate bad enough for you to flunk out. Have I seen classmates drop out? Yes, for a whole variety of reasons. There aren't too many of them, but it could be anything from, a personal reason like something in the family. They realize the law is not a good fit for them. Maybe they had goals that needed better grades than what they were getting, even though they were passing just fine. And they sort of saw a disconnect between their performance and those goals and decided it wasn't worth it. My school doesn't have conditional scholarships, but in schools that do have conditional scholarships, I can imagine that some people would realize it's not a good financial investment after the first year if they lose their scholarship. Um, so people drop out for many, many reasons, I think.
Yeah, I see. Okay. Yeah. Okay, great. Well, we're just at a little over an hour here. So thank you so much for your time. And I guess we'll just have to wait after this video gets processed to see if I get any copyright claim notices, from YouTube. Because there was one time I did a live stream and I showed a YouTube music video called Me, Myself, and I because I thought it was like an appropriate theme for what I was talking about. And I just thought it was fun. So I played a little bit of the music from the YouTube video. But then later on, YouTube completely cut out that segment because I
Mm.
guess the law or their rules were that I couldn't even show that video. So, I mean, I thought I could get around it by showing these students' reaction to the show because they already doctored it up and stuff, but we'll see. Yeah. Oh,
Well,
thanks
for the
for
past,
still being here, Serena. Okay. You have time for one more question?
of course.
Okay. Do you know of any law students who have semester-long externships abroad, and how feasible is that kind of opportunity?
I haven't been to a Korean law school, but Korea loves sending people abroad, so I can imagine that they probably have those programs. Notre Dame actually loves sending students abroad, so I have many friends that uh, I kind of wish they were still here, but they're spending a semester in London is a very popular one, or in Dublin, or in Sweden, or uh, I think there's a South American country as well, and some people spend an entire year in London actually. So being abroad is very popular at Notre Dame, uh, and at other schools, I'm sure they have some sort of opportunity if for those that really want it.
Yeah, I think most law schools do have those kinds of programs, because they have some sort of affiliation with another school in another country. So they do have those types of programs, but whether you should really do that is another question. I mean, this is just my opinion, but I don't think it really looks that good on your resume to be, you know, sort of playing around in Europe during summer when you really should be doing a real judicial internship or summer clerkship, something where it might actually lead to a real job.
Mhm.
Because I think the overall view is that when the students go abroad, it's because they couldn't find anything else that was a real job during the summer. And
Uh,
also, the
I don't
classes
know
might
if
be
that's
easier.
Yeah, I think the classes a lot of times are a little bit easier. The professors like to play as well. Uh,
Yeah.
I think most of the abroad programs at Notre Dame are during the regular school year, so this might be the best scenario is someone that finds a job at OCI for the next summer, and then that entire academic year, they get to be abroad and enjoy themselves, knowing that they have a job lined up for the upcoming summer. So at least that's sort of what the experience of many of my friends are right now.
Yeah, sure. If you already have a real job lined up for after graduation, then there's not as much incentive to, make your resume look really great anymore. It's like, yeah, whatever, enjoy your last bit of ability to travel before it's time to buckle down for the bar exam and for a real job. Yeah, okay. Yeah, thank you, Serena, also for being here and always supporting this channel. So, okay, well, thanks again, Joseph, for your time and willingness to take part in this. And if you think of any other like hot button issues that you want to talk about in the future, let me know. And this also goes to anybody who's still actually watching this video, because for some weird reason, it seems like about 80% of all the female attorneys that I asked to be on the show say no. And and the reverse is true for the male attorneys. It's like the male attorneys can't wait to have their platform and talk about themselves and their career, but the women are a lot more worried about their reputation and what they might say and what their employer might think, and they think their employer is not going to like it if they talk. So it's kind of like, oh, okay, well, I'm trying to make it a bit more diverse in terms of the guests and stuff. So yeah, but if there are any other law students out there that want to be on the show too, you got something to say, I would love to have you as a guest also.
And I would love to see those episodes as well.
Yeah, just to hear how things are going for other law school students and everything. Yeah. Okay, well, Joseph, why don't you hang on for a minute and we'll say goodbye to all the people out there watching. Thanks,
Sure.
everyone.
Thanks for watching until the end.
Yeah, see you next time. Thank you, Tony. Thanks for always being here. Take care. Have a good weekend.